Shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Baharakah, Kodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And, boy, these Edomites, man, that's why divine judgment, the likes of which has never been seen before, is going to come down on the head of these Edomites, man. They're definitely a special breed of wicked. So let's read this man, because these Edomites, since the politically correct era has ended, these Edomites are doubling all the way down. They're doubling down, boy. Anyway, it says white people went into Africa and they bought slaves from Africans. So that's their way of justifying themselves. The old, oh well, other civilizations have put people in slavery. Other civilizations have done this. That's true. But what you did was dehumanizing consistently. You invented like whole pseudosciences to not only justify your brutality, but also to destroy the psyche, right? And the souls of your captives, man. Like, it's one thing to have people in captivity. It's another thing what you did. You completely destroyed the so-called Negro. When you go into the ghetto of ghettos, right, and you see them super degenerate jakes, because not all jakes is like this, but you see them super degenerate jakes, just know that those jakes are a product of your brutality and trauma and your sabotage. But you would like to pretend that you have no hand in this production, like you were just these good, God-fearing Edomites, and you don't know how this happened. In fact, you would want the world to believe that everything is the way it is, not because you're the devil that the Bible speaks of, but everyone else is just genetically inferior and has a low IQ. This is the insanity of it. Oh, we bought slaves from Africans. That don't justify you and what you did. What did you do when you had Jake in your possession? Was you benevolent to Jake? Was you kind? Was you merciful? Boy, do the so-called Negroes in America look like a people which is the product of benevolence? Or do they look like a people that have been destroyed, traumatized, broken? The so-called black man and black woman, we are traumatized people. There's just different levels of trauma, multi-generational trauma, which leads in itself to all forms of degradation, like drug addiction, alcohol addiction, gambling, broken homes, broken families, flipping all form of mental illnesses and disorders. All of this is just from generational trauma, man. From you devils. You act like you ain't got nothing to do with it. When you systematically talk Jake down for everything, man. This is insane. Anyway, it says, and then ended slavery. Apparently they ended slavery. They want a pat on the back for that. They want to clap. They were so benevolent. When we know that's not why they ended chattel slavery. They ended chattel slavery for economic reasons. They were going another route. It says at their own expense, and he's talking about the British, which what it is the elites put the tab for compensating the British plantation owners. They didn't compensate the actual slaves, which left them in an economic condition where they had to be slaves still, wage slaves, because they didn't liberally furnish the slaves so that they could be dependent on themselves. And this is the same in Brazil. This is the same all over. Esau will work against you to make sure that you are weak so he can dominate. This is what the CIA, the FBI, and all these different organizations are set up to do, to keep that status quo. It says, and then ended slavery at their own expense because they considered it cruel and barbaric. Give me a break. It says, we literally went into innumerable wars to stop Africans being enslaved. Oh boy. No one else would have done that. So these guys are just the pinnacle of righteousness, right? We were the most benevolent, which means kind, generous, the most benevolent empire that ever existed. That's crazy. But this is flattery to the highest level. But it was a waste. The recipients of our help. So that's what they were doing, you know. You see, when they were going around murdering, killing, stealing, destroying people's psyches, putting people down, making up pseudoscience about low IQ this and all this. When they were doing all that, they were doing that to help, right? They were helping others. They're charitable. It was for everyone. It's just an accident that all the wealth ended up where they are. Oh, that's just their high IQ. It's nothing to them being a devil that the Bible speaks of, right? But it was a waste. The recipients of our help were ungrateful. So these devils, this is how insane it is, man. And this is nothing new. We see this all the time. These devils, right? They're the villain, right? The people of the world are their victims, and they want the victim to be grateful. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's like kidnapping someone, torturing them, and then saying, well, I could have tortured you more. I stopped, so you should be grateful. Oh, at least I fed you, so you could be great. What the hell are you talking about? You're a villain, bro. This guy is we're ungrateful third worlders. You see, this is the derogatory terms. They're the third world exists despite all Esau's valiant attempts at helping the rest of the world. The third world exists simply because the people in the third world are just low IQ. That's why it ain't got nothing to do with Esau. Ain't got nothing to do with the IMF, the World Bank, neo-colonialism, Esau's corporations and his secret societies and their underhandedness. It ain't got nothing to do with Esau. All right, he's trying to help the world. Ungrateful third worlders who can't even maintain what we built for them and want us dead. Yeah, when you create a society where you made it where most of the people from that nation couldn't access certain education and certain abilities, and then you just up and leave on purpose, what you do, you create a situation where for a period of time, the local population are not going to have the skills necessary to maintain things until they get the education to do so. And that's what you see happening in a lot of countries. It took them 10, 15, 20 years to try and recover, to build themselves up after Esau left. That's got nothing to do with their lack of ability. That had everything to do with your form of colonization, because you purposely keep people dumbed down. And you did it with Jake. For the longest while, you wouldn't let Jake read. All kind of obstacles. Man, get the hell out of here, man. Right? Can't even maintain what we built for them and want us dead. We should have let them enslaving and massacring each other, not our problem. So his thing, what he's trying to say is, Esau was just going down the road trying to stop the violence and do good in the world. This is why, okay, the judgment has to be so spectacular that there can be no conclusion other than this man has to be the devil. The Lord has got to bring a judgment so terrible and so godly on these devils that everyone will be like, yeah, man, these men violated, because only a people that's a devil would face such a judgment from the Most High. And that's what's going to happen. You Edomites, your kingdom is going to face the most epic destruction there ever is, beginning with America, because you're the worst, but you acting like you're the best. It's insane. This is Psalms 36 and 2 says, for he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. That's what Esau does, calling himself benevolent, and he wants to attribute good things to himself when he really is the devil, and be ignorant, right, to all the wickedness and evil that they've done in the earth. It's too much to even quantify. The so-called Negro in America isn't the way they are today naturally. Like the way the so-called Negro is in America, the way the third world is, these are things that Esau, through the power of his hand, has orchestrated. He hasn't just been trying to help no one. Neo-colonialism wasn't about helping the old colonies. It was about keeping them weak and destroyed. They haven't tried to help Jamaica. They've held Jamaica back. The CIA, listen, man, the information is out there. But these men will want to be ignorant of all that because they want to flatter. They want to be flattered. They want to be the victim because Esau wants to be the victim and he wants to be the hero. You know, it's insane. No, you're only the villain. You're not the victim, and you never will be a victim. You're gonna be only the villain, and then the villain that gets punished. Simple as that. You're not victims. It says, for he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. These devils will never see themselves as they actually are. That's why they're rejecting the idea of white guilt. They're saying, we don't got no guilt. There ain't no guilt. All right? And listen, all these devils do is romanticize themselves. They romanticize themselves. They romanticize their society. They romanticize their history. Right? Romanticize, deal with, or describe in an idealized or unrealistic fashion. That's what you see these guys, Matt Walsh. Oh, we had a great culture. We were just good Christians. No, man, you was a bunch of demons, a bunch of batty boys. And let me tell you something too. The fight in America between the left-leaning Edomite and the right-leaning Edomite is literally a fight between who's going to be outwardly gay and who's going to be in the closet, because that's what it is. Let me tell you something about these right-wing Edomites. Yeah, they'll come out and they'll call people the F word and they'll do all that. The problem with those Edomites is that they don't like the idea of accepting what they really are. They've always been a bunch of you know what's, batty boys. The difference is the left-leaning Edomites want to be openly gay. They want to be out. You know, I'm coming out. That's the left. The right want to stay in the closet. They don't want it to be outward, but it's always been inward. Because that's why it's called spiritual Sodom and Egypt. These right wingers, man, are the same man consuming all the transgender porn and all this kind of stuff. They're onto that stuff because them man are really into it too. They're devils. These men have never been right, and they hide behind calling themselves Christians. They hide behind all these. But the reality is when you look at these people through a through a magnifying glass, you don't even need a magnifying glass. Just look at them as it is. They've always been the devil. They've always been the savage. They've always been the selfish ones. That's why they had to have a whole movement called the Truther movement, because you've always been the liar. Cover up after cover up. Right? It says, make something seem better or more appealing than it really is. And that's what these devils want to do now. They want to make it look like this Edomite thing. You know who's really ruining it? It's all the other. It's the blacks. It's the Hispanics. If you let Esau tell the story, if they could just get rid of all of everyone else but Esau, it would be like a utopia. There'd be no crime. There'd be no stealing. Everything would just be perfect. When it's quite the opposite. When you Edomites, boys, you Edomites are the worst people to have in power, because under you, evils will always be multiplied because you're evil incarnate. That's who you really are. Let's get Alexander. Right? This is the first time you Edomites took power in the earth. This is First Maccabees 1:7. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. Them man want to talk about everyone else is violent. You man had 2 world wars. You man have got secret societies and secret agencies out there fomenting nothing but war in the earth. You're the actual ones that are the main weapons producers in the earth. You have driven the earth. You developed. You 2 Edomite nations pushed the world to develop weapons so destructive that it could literally destroy the whole planet. You did that. It weren't no one else. You create these damn thermonuclear missiles, and you want to sit there and romanticize yourself like you're just these peaceable. You just love peace. You just love peace, so you don't know what's wrong with everyone else. It's devils, man. Right? This scripture just sums up what you see with these devils, man. It says, NLT, in their blind conceit, they cannot see how wicked they really are. They really can't see it. They really can't see it, man. They're like, these Edomites have drunk their own juice. Their system, because in the system of white supremacy, Esau is always good. He's always justified. He's superior. That's what the word white means. The word white means perfect. This is why they call themselves white people. It's that in itself is a smoke screen. It's to get you to ignore what you're seeing with your own two eyes. This is why they can be less and get more. This is why if Jake do something, it's going to be highlighted and it's going to be exaggerated and it's going to be sensationalized. But Esau do something and you have to turn a blind eye to it, right? It's not going to stick to him like glue. It's not they don't get to be represented by the worst of themselves. They get to be represented what they deem to be the best. We don't get that benefit because under the system of so-called white supremacy, we're black. So we're only evil. So if we do good, it's like, oh, that's not normal. But it's but these devils are the biggest deviants. They're doing so much, man. That's why one of the first things we're gonna do, we're gonna get rid of that title, because being white is a title and you don't deserve it. The real white people of the earth is gonna be the elect. White means perfect. You ain't perfect, man. You're the opposite of perfect. You're corruption incarnate, man. Your whole political system, your whole governmental system, your whole financial system, it's all based upon oppression, lies, deceit, witchcraft. You're the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. And when it comes to killing, you done surpassed everyone in killing, because you kill wholesale and industrially. You want to talk about the natives? Oh, when we went over to Americas, they were committing child sacrifice. So what have you been doing in the last 100 years? Over 50 million babies, man. And that's just in America, man. Get the hell out of here, man. These guys are taking a piss. You know, the white woman, we're supposed to praise her like she's just this perfect individual, so humble. So we're going to ignore all these white men killing people and boiling babies. And this is my point. You ignore everything. She's got blonde hair. She's white. That means she's good. She's perfect. This is the bullshit that needs to stop, man. Man needs to start really looking at these devils and what they actually do. Just the other day, the man had to arrest some Edomite woman, was putting her husband's sperm in the food for the children to eat in the school. But you know what? We're going to forget about all that, right? We're just going to let that one go. Because let that be an immigrant, a so-called black woman. Oh, it's the IQ. Oh, we're just animals. This is insanity. The low level, low vibration behavior that Jake adopted in America came from poor whites that came from Europe. They taught them about gambling and alcoholism and all these different things. But they don't want to talk about that. It's disgusting, man. All right? And they want you to believe in all that. They want you, and this is what the system of white supremacy was all about, getting you to buy into this. And they did that through the image of so-called Jesus Christ, so you could buy into the flattery. So you could look at Esau as put him on a pedestal in your mind. Nah, man, Esau don't belong in a pedestal. Esau belongs in a pit.
This is why we say import the third world, become third world. Because the thing that nobody wants.
No. What is import the third world, become the third world? They want to blame. These Edomites literally want to blame everyone else but themselves. You're the one with the power and authority. If America's going down the shitter, it's by design and it's by your own design. Just like how you messed up the other nations. It's your own people that's doing it. Stop trying to blame everyone else. This is ridiculous.
To say is that the reason why third world countries are the way they are is because third world people are the way they are. Okay, at the end of the day, your country is a reflection of its people.
Not necessarily. There's some truth to that, but your country could also be a reflection of another people that's attacking you. right? It could be also a reflection on another people that's sabotaging you. Like when you Edomites went over to China and tried to pump China full of opium. You think we forgot about all that? Drug, man.
Every country is, when it comes down to it. Somali is totally dysfunctional and corrupt.
And I'm sure you Edomites have nothing to do with that.
Scam and fraud.
And America's not corrupt. It's not full of fraud. It's not full of piracy. Get the hell out of here, man.
Odds, piracy, this is part of the lifestyle, part of the culture. Bring it over here, you get the same stuff. This is why we.
And what's your culture? This is, man, I'm tired. Listen, man, I'm so tired of these devils grandstanding. Hold on. Devils, man. That man of sin, man. These devils, and they just stand up there and they just out there so smug, acting like they're somebody, man. This is, it's disgusting to watch. It really is. But the Lord is going to bring great judgment. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that they shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. See, these Edomites, they're the sons of perdition. They're destined, right? They were created, right, to be wicked and then ultimately to be destroyed. They have a completely different view of themselves. They think the opposite. They think that they're the pinnacle of mankind, and they're the pinnacle of righteousness, and if anyone's going to get it right, they will. No, you're not going to get it right. You were made to get it wrong and then to be destroyed. Simple as that. And your sin is going to be revealed when them thermonuclear missiles destroy your greatest creation of the face of the planet Earth, and that's America. The pinnacle of your civilization is going to be nothing but ashes. As an example to the rest of the nations. It says, who opposeth and exalt himself above all that is called God. These men will call themselves Christians, but they don't really believe what's in the Bible. They've never acted like they believe what's in the Bible. They will ignore that their actions over the last 500 years have not mirrored the principles of Yahweh Shai. They do not operate in accordance with the law of the Most High. They don't operate in the spirit or the fruits of the spirit. These are devils. These are greedy, corrupt devils. That's how they've operated. Who know how to put on a pretend, because the ones of them that are actually the worst, they're the ones running around calling themselves philanthropists. And they're the biggest devils there is. So they know how to put on a show. They know how to run PR. It's like when Abramovich was having that beef with the other Russian dude. And he said, what's the difference between a rat and a gerbil? And he said, it's PR. You Edomites have just got good PR. That's all it is. You take away the PR, you're a rat. You're a rodent, man. And you stink. Right? Who boasts and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God. And that's how you trying to come like you perfect. Like you the ones that everyone needs to look up to you. Showing himself that he is God. And that's what you're doing, man. And that you think you're gonna impress people with your technology and your witchcraft. The Lord is gonna destroy you and your civilization and put you into subjection. You're gonna go into the pits. You're going into slavery, man. All this bag of talking you're doing on Twitter and all that ain't gonna help you, man. Really, the beautiful thing is that we're at the end of all this big talk that these Edomites got, and the Lord's gonna show and prove, and the whole world's gonna know, man. Because you're hold on. This is Revelations 18:4. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities, man. You've piled up a whole bunch of iniquity, man. And the Lord is gonna show you a thing. Right? Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which you have filled, fill to her double. Right? So we'll see if you fill that cup up with righteousness. I don't think so. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her, man. And that's what it's going to take. These devils are going to have to get a harsh judgment in order to understand the reality of who and what they really are. You are the devil that the Bible speaks of, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, man. So stop chatting breeze, man. We don't want to hear it, man. It's sickening to watch you devils grandstand and you talking about man should be grateful and all this. Wait. Are you for real? Always pointing the finger, man. When your fingers is dirty. You pointing your dirty, smelly fingers. Your fingerprints are all over the earth. You haven't installed righteousness in the earth. You're the devil, man. So if that, I'm gonna say shalom.